students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, those who are watching from the field of science, religion, spirituality, arts, commerce and engineering. The Most Honorable President Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, respected ministers and doctors, honorable advisors, administrators and advisors, respected fathers and mothers, affectionate sons and daughters. I, Dr. Rakesh from USA, heartily, cordially welcome all of you. It is really nice time, nice place, nice section. You are listening the truth of science and spirituality. Dear friends, today we will discuss fundamentals of sports and study. Study and sports both are the traditional learning skills. For example, when a child takes birth, he newly comes from the new world and he enters in this materialistic world. He does not know anything, but all the trainings that mother provided its baby in the warmth of her in the warmth of her mother, it becomes his great learning place, and it reminds him what kind of thoughts and ideas was running in the mind of the mother. A child becomes totally influenced by the thoughts, ideas and actions of the mother. So dear friends, initially when a child comes in this earth or in this world, he observes, watches, listens, learns number of externalities. It means not that he is unaware about all these things or he is unknown about these things, but he knows everything practically and fundamentally. He experienced all the things. That's why it is rightly said that a child is the father of man. Good morning all of you. Dear friends, it is our learning stage. Likely that for learning any skill, for participating in any competition, in any program, that becomes also a part of initiation, beginning and starting. Basic principles and doctrines of life that we spend in our life that can be learnt from our past. If we have become youngster, we are matured, entirely fine and fit by the blessings of Lord. And how are you? Dear friends, how are you? I think you are fit and fine. Good. So it is the right time while becoming a youngster. Nice. It's the blessings of Lord and grace of God. Dear friends, our past, our childhood, our memories, our downloadings, recordings, history, these things become our years, and we excel in our skills while learning any new thing in our life. Dear friends, time and again, if we repeat the same exercise, it takes, for example, if any idea, any thought that comes time and again in our mind, and we think, we concentrate upon that idea continuously disturb our mind to do something different or something whatsoever it has decided. Next, the repetition of the ideas become our eyes. Our attitude is declared, our attitude is decided by our thoughts and ideas. So according to that, we start to read the things outwardly from our eyes. Later on, the same energy of the eyes that we feel, that transform into our words that we speak with our tongue. How is our tongue? It can be tasted by our mind, because mind is the overall controller of all these senses. Whatsoever we do with our internal senses of mind, eyes, and from our tongue, that is controlled by our mind. Repetition of the words that we repeat after watching something or before watching something, it becomes the part of our action. Then we try to promote the same energy into the form of actions. These repetitions of the actions becomes our habit. If we do the same action by our hands daily in our everyday life, that becomes our daily routine. Means in 24 hours we repeat the same action with equal time intervals, sometimes unequal and sometimes equal time intervals. We repeat the number of actions. The same repetition becomes the part of our character of life. Dear friends, if we have the power to change the habit, become a great warrior, because this is the toughest and the hardest job for any person, whether he or she is youngster, professional, or scholar or student. So dear friends, our habits can be changed, our daily routine can be changed by our by changing our thoughts and ideas. Our one idea, one thought can bring revolutionary and visionary change in our daily routine and daily life. So that becomes the part of our character, and we are labeled, branded with that character whatsoever we repeat daily. Sometimes, somehow becomes the addict of something, then we repeat the same action after equal time interval or unequal time interval. So that becomes the part of our character. Ultimately, character brings our fortune, it changes in our luck. So, dear friends, bottom to top, root to fruit, it's a great journey and traveling from idea to fortune. Amen. Anyone, any person, any student, any scholar, any learner, any professional can bring this revolutionary and visionary change by changing the fundamentals by changing the basics of life. What are the basics and fundamentals of life? That are our ideas. Whatsoever we think in the unread, unspoken, unseen, invisible position, that becomes the greatest part of our learning. That becomes the part of our fundamentals and basics. Whatsoever we do in our dark. So, dear friends, it's a great lesson of learning for our scholars, students, learners, those who are busy in doing research, those who are studying in other different universities of the world, like Harvard University, Cambridge University, and Oxford University. Dear friends, research never stops. Research is a continual process. Our mind never breaks to think what, when, where, why, how. It is in its habit, it is in its action that it starts thinking in the form of these words. If our mind is thoughtless, idealess, and it does not have any idea, then we can form the ideas by just imagining what, when, where, how, and whose. Dear friends, all of you are the listener, and listeners are considered as the judges. Someone speaks in front of you, then he plays the form of an advocate. He plays the form of a lawyer. But listener becomes the part of observer, examiner, evaluator. So dear friends, if you want to be true realizer, true judge, then you must go through the judgment of your soul, purity of our soul. Sometimes we are confused with these materialistic availabilities. If we have luxury lifestyle, comfortabilities in our life, we think that what an amazing lifestyle we have. No doubt, it's also the grace and wonder, blessing of Lord. But dear friends, we never forget that we are to be natural. While spending such life, we are to be natural, because our old ancestors, forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, messengers, free thinkers, freedom fighters, those who came first on this land, they thought that their lifestyle should be natural, and this is the naturality, spontaneity that creates original form of human beings. So dear friends, what is our true aim? What is our true objective of life? We are to concentrate upon it. Fundamentally, for the foundation of any course, the fundamentals of sports. What are the fundamentals that are provided by our Indian cultures from the ancient time? If we do daily pranayam, yoga, meditation, these are the basic things, basic traditional skills that are provided by our Indian culture to the worldly people. And we are inventive, always in these skills. We teach these things to the worldly people. And our country, our nation has provided the different skills of pranayam, meditation, yoga, people, those who belong to the developed nations. Whether our nation is developing nation, but after being developing, we have numberless, unaccounted arts, manners, skills, styles that we can teach to the worldly people. Intellectually, we have a great patience, This is also a great ornament and decorative thing for the human being, by which we are decorated without any ornament, because our soul feels energetic. This soul power, how can be created and recreated? How we can create our talent, soul power, spiritual power, self confidence, which are the basics of getting success in life. In study and sports, those our scholars are studying, they are required. They are required what? Self confidence, soul power, spiritual power. How this spiritual power can be obtained? It is only the method of getting soul power. Repeat the holy words of Holy Land, of the holy religions, time and again. It is said. But God itself proved time to time, those who came first on this land, they proved that they are in the form of air, fire, soil, sky and water. Even they advocated and appealed to the worldly people that there is the presence of Lord where there are not availability of these five elements. Even those a God or Lord in light and sound. Our social reformist, religious personality, Swami Vivekananda proved to the worldly people. He went to the USA and advocated that, my brothers and sisters of the America, return to the Vedas, return to your nature, return to your childhood, because our present lies in the past. So these were not only the words that were used to speak by that personality, but these words were the symbol of his intellectuality, emotionality and spirituality, height of spirituality he proved there. Dear friends, these words were not the common to speak at that time in that religious conference. While becoming a modest and simple person, he proved it to the worldly people. At that time, when our country was totally interdependent, it was under the ruling of British government, and he proved to the worldly people that our Indian culture, custom, climate, character has the topmost degree in the world. These are its greatest features by which we are known in the whole world. Dear friends, brothers and sisters, why we have disease around this soul? Why we have evils around this soul? Why we have shortcomings, drawbacks, likenesses? Reason behind, we are the believer of the falsifications, outwardnesses, superstitions. But God does exist even in lightless and soundless places. It was proved by that personality to the worldly people. And the first foremost personalities, those who came on this land in the form of starter of the different religions, like Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, who was the inventor of Sikhism, starter of Sikhism, and starter of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Sahib, starter of Christianity, Jesus Christ, and there are many other different religions in the world. All of the religions, those who came first on this land, they spent their time with nature. They were very natural. They were common and simple. Dear friends, in 1948, Shyam Stanaji Maharaj, who started true bargain, he recreated the true bargain in India. that true bargain which was started by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj in Sikhism. We study, those who are the scholars of English, Punjabi literature, they know very well, and all over the world he proved to the worldly people that God does exist in air, fire, soil, sky and water. And in his thoughts and ideas he proved that this is the light and sound that comes first on this land, and by the collision, by the starting of that light, when it collided with in 84 lakh species, the whole world started, vibrated and created. This is a chapter of the Genesis that we study in the Holy Bible. Jesus Christ, who himself wrote this literature, this holy literature, whatsoever he experienced, not experimented. Later on he experimented, but first of all he experienced, he felt, and that he wrote in the Holy Scripture. So dear friends, for knowing the fundamentals of the study and sports, we must go through the originalities, we must go through the basics, and that basics can be recovered, reformed, recollected from our past, from our history only. It is a chapter of history that gives us the platform for new research in the science. Our old holy religious scriptures are known as the mega science, mega experiments, true experiments that were executed by our founders of the different religions. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj proved it, and he eradicated, uprooted different type of superstitions in the different religions by becoming the most inventive and innovative personality of that religion. He brought spiritual changes in the minds of the people by providing them the truth of science and spirituality. Dear friends, our basic religion, basic teachings, fundamentals of our life that we recollect while becoming an Indian, that is 5 elements we have collected from this Indian air, fire, soil, sky and water, and we are to be a nationalistic person for this world. Whether we are working in any university, whether we are working in any nation of the world, anywhere we are working, but it is our prime duty to bring nation, to maintain the spiritual standard of our nation, because these are the spiritual, social, political and economical values by which our nation is known as the unique nation of the world. Whenever any nation feels natural changes, natural calamities, devastations, then our nation provides them the platform how to conduct and how to solve such kind of problems that are the most drastic problems that are created by the natural imbalance in the nature, like earthquake, flood, heavy rainfall, numberless natural changes nature can bring at any time. So we are to be natural controller of the mind. How is the nature of our mind? How is the nature of our heart? How is the nature of our lungs, kidney, and of our internal organs. We just try to observe it by the soul power, spiritual power, self confidence. Dear friends, never feel back. There should not be any inferiority and frustration, depression, because God Himself created in the form of light and sound. He was also came on this earth, appeared on this earth in the form of lightless and soundless positions of the world. Then how we can feel any problem in our life? If there are so many problems in our life, there are numberless solutions are available around us. So there is no question of inferiority, because God has gifted us this human birth which we have got after this cycle of 84 lakh species. We have born and we got death 84 lakh times. After that, we are given this valuable and auspicious time, opportunity to do something better, nicer, finer for the humanity and for the wellness, humanity, equality, oneness. We must bring visionary change. We must bring attitudinal change. We must bring change in our attitude, in behavior, by changing our ideas and thoughts. One idea, one thought has the power to bring change in the whole scenario of the world, in the whole life of the man. Dear friends, one has the power to change the all in one and one in all. It depends upon you. If you believe in the theory of all in one, then that is also right. And if you believe one in all, it is also equally important and right. By being theist, theist, if you have the climax and culmination of the theist, then you become atheist. And if you have the culmination and climax of the atheist, you become theist. There are numberless examples in the history we have cited. There were personalities who brought revolutionary and visionary change. We study in the history Ashoka the Great, who was the most atheist person of the world, but later on when he adopted the holy religion Buddhism, Hinduism, then he became the most theist person of the world. Then he leveled as Ashoka the Great. There were many persons in the history, those who brought great changes by bringing change in their habits, actions, thoughts. But firstly, we are to change our thought and ideas. Our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, whose role model is Swami Vivekananda, who has provided us the path of the truth of science and spirituality. He proved to the worldly people that weakness is the name of death and power is the name of life. What does he mean to say? His means is very clear, that if our soul is pure, if we are pure by our character, and if our soul has the power to fly in the sky openly, individually, independently, it is the real mean of becoming It is the real mean of becoming a fruitful life. Otherwise, if we have any kind of weakness, we ourselves are the responsible for that things. We are to, we can bring change just by the repetition of the words, just by becoming natural, by having the company of nature. We must spend our time by communicating with plants, trees, animals, birds, sun, sky, moon. These are some of the celestial bodies that are ever created by the Lord or God on this earth for the great good communication, natural communication, and it fills many virtues, qualities in our life. So, dear friends, weakness is the name of death. It means not that we have completed the journey of our life, but our any organ, if any internal organ has become weakened due to any deformity, deficiency, then we are responsible for that. Means that we haven't cared about our internal family members of the human body. It is our prime and first duty to be fit and fine, healthy, wealthy and wise. If the body becomes weak, powerless, functionless, actionless, it means that is the death of that organ. So, how we can observe and examine, evaluate these internal organs of our body? We cannot. Not possible. But for the doctors, it is on some extent is possible by electronology, technology, digitology. But who is the maker of these? All losses. That is our human mind. And that human mind, which was ever created by our forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, those who came first on this land and spent their time with nature. They were the true inventors and innovators. We are to recollect in our memory, in our past. So, dear friends, being a normal human being, we are to be the true believers of the nature. Nature is to be worshipped. We are to be nature lover. Our atmosphere, our environment that we have around us, we are to keep it neat and clean. We are to grow more and more trees. We are to do yoga, pranayam, meditation maximum as much as we can, for which our soul has come in this dark age. That is our true aim. Dear friends, never forget that at any time we have to go from this world, because this world is temporary. It is like a train traveling, it is like a bus stand, it is like a railway station, and it can be compared with a platform or airport where flights and goes come and go, but never anyone can stay for long time at this place. Sometimes our forefathers, great men, compared it this word is like an industry, and we are the product of that industry. How any product can have arrogancy, ego? Never can. Never can think permanency in this world. Everything is temporary. Because doctor, scientist know this thing that our heart beats 72 times in 1 minute. And these Beatings of the heart creates numberless ideas in our mind that are uncounted. Then how a man can think the permanent ideas in this world? This world is temporary. Everything whatsoever we have around it in the form of materialistic goods, physicality, that is the form of temporariness. But for the short span of life, for the short period, we are to play our act bravely, not cowardly. Being a warrior, becoming a true freedom fighter, we are to spend our life. And we learn life from the lion, how a lion spends its time in the king by becoming a king in the jungle or forest. So likely that this soul can be compared with a lion or can be compared with an elephant, or more appropriate and suitable comparison, the elephant, because its size is huge and its nature is cool. Its nature is always faithful towards its owner. So likely that our soul has come on this earth and we are to have patience, humanistic, humilistic, compassionate, affectionate. These are the things, natural qualities and virtues that God filled in us, and He expects from us that we will return towards our initial stage from where our soul has come. Our soul is everlasting, immortal, eternal. This human body that we have in the form of skin, hair, blood, brain, borrow, blood, brain, these are some of the external organs by which we feel materialistic pleasures. But these are not permanent, these are temporary. The true love is platonic love, spiritual love, love of soul. It is the real meaning of love. What's the real meaning of love? We are always confused in it. If you love your soul, that is good. If you love your super soul, it is better. But if you love to Lord or God, that is the best love. Super spiritual power of God we have always with us. So dear friends, love never knows any impediment. It does not know any hurdle and obstacle. It never care of these things. But it is ever growing, like the tempest in the vast ocean. The tempest comes in the vast ocean. Then the lighthouse shows path, direction. In which direction the tempest is to move. In which direction an ocean is to move. It is shown by the lighthouse. So true love is like a lighthouse in the ocean. True love is that love which is endless, beyond to reach, after death, which can never be finished, never can be completed. It is continual love of soul to God. So dear friends, these are the true lessons that we are learning for knowing the fundamentals of sports and study. I once again thank God and Lord who has given us this world and opportunity to recreate the ideas to reform our nation with a super spiritualistic nations of thoughts. Thanks, dear. Thanks, learners.